Hi, I'm Moser, 40 years in software. Right now, I'm building AI-native systems and writing about what actually works in the real world. This is not a theory channel. Everything I talk about here is something I'm actively doing or already testing. Welcome. Someone spent $500 million on Claude in 1 month. Not a startup burning through investor money, a real company, a real budget, gone in 30 days because nobody kept the usage. My first reaction wasn't surprise. My reaction was, I have seen this movie before. For 40 years, I've watched the same failure repeat itself across every major technology shift. Mainframes, client-server, web, cloud, mobile, now AI. The pattern is always the same. A new capability arrives, the excitement is real, the potential is real, and then somewhere between we have access and we have results. The invisible infrastructure that was always missing becomes catastrophically expensive. In every single one of those shifts, the failure mode wasn't the technology, it was the gap between what the technology could do and what the organization had built to contain it. The gap has a consistent cost, and it scales with how powerful the capability is. Let me give you a concrete example that has nothing to do with AI. I remember walking into a company a few years ago. Development team, real production workload, years of experience in the room. No branching strategy, none. One main branch, everything going directly to production. Something broke on a Friday afternoon. The entire organization went into emergency mode, meetings, escalations, hours of coordination to figure out who could touch what code without making it worse. A hotfix branch would have solved it in 15 minutes. Git has been mainstream for 15 years. The knowledge was free, the tooling was free, the documentation was everywhere. What was missing wasn't capability. What was missing was the discipline to build the governance layer before the complexity arrived. Now give that same organization access to an AI system with no usage controls, no cost monitoring, no approval structure. $500 million in a month starts to make sense. Amazon ran a similar experiment internally. They built an AI leaderboard to encourage adoption. Employees gained it. Pointless tasks executed at scale. Optimized for score rather than value. Cloud costs exploded. Amazon shut down the whole program. Two different companies, two different problems, the same root. The system surrounding the capability had no governance layer. AI didn't create this pattern. AI made the cost of ignoring it $500 million. There's a research paper making the rounds right now that makes an argument I've been sitting with for months. The argument, the LLM is not the bottleneck. The software layer surrounding it, the tools it can call, the memory it has access to, the permission to control what it can do, that is where the real architecture lives. That's what determines whether the system is productive or catastrophic. I'd extend that to every system I've worked with in 40 years. The raw capability gets commoditized quickly. What differentiates us is the harness, the governance, the structure, the discipline around how the capability is used. The engineers who understood this built systems that lasted. The ones who ignored it with the legacy debt we're still cleaning up. So here's the thing, I come back to every time I see one of these failures. Before you ask, which model should we use? Ask, what governance layer do we have? Before you scale usage, ask what controls are in place. Before you give an agent access to production systems, ask what happens when something goes wrong at 3 a.m. These aren't new questions. They're the same questions that get skipped in every technology transition. Not because nobody thinks to ask them, but because the cost of skipping used to be manageable. With AI, the cost of skipping is what we're watching now. $500 million in a month in one data point. There are more coming. And that's what 40 years give you, not answers to every new question. A stable set of questions that are relevant across every technology generation. If this resonated, I write about these patterns in depth on Substack. A link is in the description. And if you're building with AI in a real organization, you'll probably recognize something here. I'm Christian. See you in the next one.